Hello, everybody. My name is Alex, and welcome back, or welcome first time. This is Godsky podcast. I talk about everything and nothing at the same time. But if you have time to spare, and of course you're not, you're super busy, I know. But sometimes it's just good to burn out. It's just good to burn some time, cause you don't have to be productive all the time. You don't have to have any purpose. Like, if you ask yourself, how much purpose in the things I do every day, you'll find yourself in a really weird place, which is, it's a existential question. And it reminds me interesting in a analogy. I think it's that there is an insect called centipede, and it got 40 legs, something like that. If she'll be thinking which leg she needs to put first or next after that, she'll find herself, all curled up and confused and staying at the same place. So I want to help myself and you to get a little bit less confusion in our life and see the things a little bit more simple and pleasant. So stay with me to this episode of a chill, a little bit mellow podcast. And I see you soon. So coming back to the centipede, I was actually myself right now. I was thinking, let me create some space, some interesting interaction, and grab you by your attention by the balls, and create some interesting story about the something relevant, something you might find useful for yourself. But at the same time, I was staring at the screen, glazing upon my notes that I write from time to time, and the ideas to the next podcast. And I found myself stuck in a loop of thinking: have I've been talking about it? Or is it just like, is this old ideas? Or maybe I had in a previous podcast and I'm probably not going to remember it. And, I just say, whatever. How about start it? How about to, just walk and see where our path going to take us. Every day, I think we are, maybe it's the thing that we are excited about day of the vacation. Maybe sometimes you don't play to you plan to make a really fruitful vacation. I will go there and here, and at the same time you can find yourself completely in a bed, not have no any better reason to just stand up and leave the bed, because come on, so nice to stay in a bed, right? It's a vacation. So I completely agree about it, and I completely feel ashamed after I'm like, oh man, it's about like a day end and I did nothing. At the same time, it's what is this guilt? Where is it coming from? Why are we have to be so productive and making things that feel like, oh, at least I made that? I mean, of course, to be completely vegetable and do nothing, I mean, maybe it's not the best way, But what I'm talking about is so there is this idea that if you want to be productive and make stuff done, you gotta plan your week. Like on a weekend, you settle down, you open your calendar, and you write down the things you plan to do this week. And this is basically your schedule for the week, and you'll know exactly what you're doing during the day. I found myself a little bit paralyzed. Like I knew I need to. Tomorrow, I planned for myself a jog, like a running exercise, and that wasn't fun at all. That wasn't like fun idea. Like the day is closing in, and I'm doing my daily job and everything going like usual. But in the back thought, I'm thinking, oh man, I gotta run today. I schedule it for myself, and I gotta keep it up, keep myself, keep the word with myself and do it. And completely like wash down the day. I mean, there was days then I had no particular plans, and after a work day, I was coming back and I feel I'm energized, and I'm saying to myself, it's a great mindset to have a run, to have a jog. That was fun part, and still, I gotta convince myself, like, do it. Come on, do it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna run. You're gonna have fun, which is absolutely not. But after it, you feel it much better. But maybe this is the part of us that, like, we kind of sabotage ourselves with the idea that let's see where the day will take me. Let's see what will bring to me, and like, let me find something interesting to look forward. And sometimes it comes out good, sometimes it comes out not really nice, and of course, and we lagging in our projects, we lagging in our obligations, and yada yada. This is but this the same time, it's as much stress-free environment that we live in today. I mean, if you, just for the example, if you 500 years ago, like 300 years ago, 200 years ago, if you had no idea what you're gonna do this season, this weekend, this weekday, you'd probably will starve to death, because everything that plant in your head, it's strictly straight to your survival. But today we can allow ourselves fell out of the schedule, or take a day off for no reason. Why not? Just to chill out. I think times back then were crazy, so today we can allow ourselves. And still, I meet the people who have that anxiety that they have not enough time left. Like, come on. This is times where you don't spend even time to cook the food for yourself. You can order takeaway and go about your business, then be productive about your self-development and let's say self-construction, I'd say. But this is the days where we can allow ourselves to fall off the loop and come back at it and have no really consequences. I mean, I was in the right state of mind for the past month. I mean, I haven't suffering on something. I had a great time. and I've met the great people. I've been in my most close people, and this is the great time I've spent. At the same time, there was a back thought that we had a not the great accident at the sea. Somebody spilled oil. Do you believe it? Like 2021, when I hear like about pollution of the environment, I'm like, come on, it's not that bad. But it's like right in like your front door. And for me, sea is a important part of the life, and suddenly I can't go surfing because there's a environment catastrophe happening like right in front of me, and that had me like paralyzed. I fell out of the loop. I had no my I always had my surfing sessions almost every weekend. I had this surfing midweek. That's great. But then suddenly it was taken away, and I was kind of down and lost my inspiration to do any other thing. So I fell out of the podcast too. I think there's a lot of great ideas I was coming up. That was in the middle of the session, in the middle of the sea, and right now the news are much better, and I'm looking forward for my next surfing session. And I heard it's better now. At the same time, I'm doing my part, right? Like, to look honestly, I'm really doing my part. I'm taking care of all the plastic I have in my house that I bring to house. I've taken care of it. I put in a recycling, and I always preach to people about the batteries, that this is the most important thing to recycle, and don't be too lazy to save up those used batteries and put in the right containers, because the batteries are killing the environment in a major way. It's much worse than the plastic. One battery is killing the soil for the decades, and people actually being really fascinated by it. Like wow, actually, like, thank you to give me that information. So I'm not feeling like I'm really active environmentalist or something, but I actually feel proud of myself for making a small part about it. But then what happens? A major oil spillage? What my recycling can even do with this? This is the reality. This is where we asking the big government, like, step in. Aren't you want to preserve the nature? Aren't you want to preserve to your sons? But nothing. There was no backtrack, no backlash, nothing. Like, we still have no idea who did that, which is like absolutely ridiculous. And right now the situation with the pandemic is getting better, but at the same time it's the same. And of course, people against the vaccines, reasonable, understandable. But at the same time, maybe I'm coming back to myself, but I had this simple conversation with my coworkers. I said something like that. He vaccinated. But at the same time, he was reading all the press and about like how it's like kind of sucks that they do experiments on me and yada yada yada. I have a simple argument. The Russian Empress Ekaterina II, back then they had a major pox, smallpox, epox. I think there's a pox outbreak. People were dying, and she was the first one get vaccinated, and not vaccinated like we are. Something took from the lab, worked in 100 computer simulations. No, there was a really real sick person. They opened his one of his like wounds, took his blood, put blood on the blood of the empresses, and that's it. That was the vaccine. And of course, she had a cold. She had a illness for the week, but she came back alive, and she showed the leading example that it's possible to do it. And when I say that, my point is to say an empress and somebody who have the highest, let's say, a regalia to be in like, it's like the end game. Like, who you want to become? I want to become like emperor of the big great Russia, and like, all right, everyone wanna like can enjoy that, right? But as soon as you gotta be a leader, and she's been a leader, and she took upon herself, and I'm saying myself, who am I? Who am I to be against even the tryouts that happening on any of us? Maybe there is a backlash. Maybe there is a backfire. It will backfire at us. But the next generations and generations after it will have the normal life we at least had for up until now. So let's close all the vaccination and pandemic talk. I think this is the last I'm gonna mention about it. And from now on, we're gonna come back to life. I was passing today near the bars, and people, you see, they've been starving for going out. They're standing right now in a big, huge lines to get in a pub. And of course, we see like, aren't they right now happy that at least that happening? Of course they are. I'm a home dweller, and I still was feeling for them. So I'm saying that let's not to be so much about us and think a little bit further. Let's close this pandemic talk. I think it's irrelevant already. As always, I'm listening to history podcasts. To be honest, I learn a lot from it. I learn a lot about our modern days in a history podcast. And history are fascinating. Everything that for me being like mysterious, and now it's open up and become more clear, and there's a lot of stuff I was thinking by the stigma. I was like, by the coding from the childhood, it breaks up, and it's fun. To be honest, it's fun. Like hearing about the knights and the crusades, and it's hilarious how it was like played out. Like in my mind, it was a crusade. It's a crazy battle horses with a buff knights and a big sword and a honorable death. And then I discover in a history that was like most of the crusades being not honorable at all. They just been asking for permission from the Pope for the crusade, and he was given the permission. They were taking seizing control from the neighbor village or neighbor castle, and then like, we stop the crusade now. So that was like a crusade, takeaway crusade, 24 hours crusade. And of course, for me that was shock and same time hilarious. Like, people are still people are always will find like those exploits in the system to use it for their own sake. And sometimes I really give the respect to those people. Even I've been felt like I've been scammed, but at the same time I do respect them for their hustle. And everything gets comes up like in a many myths that I had strong belief in them, and then suddenly I discovered that they're just a myth. And one of the things that not popular idea, and I think I'll talk about it. I kinda, you know what? I'm gonna archive this note just not to see it again. But society are always built in a way that it carves you to be working properly gear. And nowadays it's so rare to see somebody who have an effort to turn their face to human side and to become, not just the co-workers who ask each other to do favors or do their job, but co-workers who have any connection or try to show the interest in the person. And they have a backlash from this side. They have that misunderstanding, like they don't care. And you show them your affection, and you show them that, come on, let's be human first of all. Let's be, friends is a bad word, but let's be companions. No, it's not really a part of a corporation. Corporation care about the numbers. And I can give you the insight. Let me give you some insight, like what corporation is like. Let's be honest. There is a lot of tech that you're frustrated from. If it's the way you need to operate your connect to home Wi-Fi or do any major tech stuff, even more. I can give you for example, working in a hospital and see their main program that they're using to have all the paper about the patient, all the data about the patient. It works, but works really clunky. And nothing will change. There's no attention to the struggle of personnel, of nurses, of doctors, that using this program is a struggle. It's clunky. It's not optimized, it's not fast. There's a lot of problems with it, and I hear all the complaints, and the problem is the company doesn't care. Behind every hospital there is a company, and they don't really care about your mental health. They don't care about your experience. They don't see that if they will make it better, it will improve the personal staff. They will work better. They will have more attention to the details and to the patient herself, to the patient basically. And I had a talk, and I explained it that as long the tech see it in that way, as long as it works and money comes in, they don't really care about your struggle. Your struggle they're created. Let's say you're eye technician and you hone your skills and you work closely with the patients and you take care of them and you trying to be efficient as possible because you understand their struggle. Your struggle, it doesn't have to be their problem. But at the same time, you will face yourself with the tech problems, machine problems, and everything to solve it. There's no quick response. We're talking about a hospital. We're talking about people who will wait an hour more just to get to their eye checkup. The technician just baffled by this problem. There's no tools that can improve the tech's work. No. It's all falls on the shoulders of the personnel, and the technician needs to adapt to it, and there's no way to do it, and there's only frustration from the both sides, and they maybe they will solve the problem, and it's not a big problem, but at the same time company doesn't care. You put your time, you put your effort, and they see the numbers are running. It's all good. Nobody will even start to even have a simple questionnaire. How are you satisfied by the current technology around you? What can be done? What can be improved? And this is the reality that we're talking about. The most basic human need of healthcare. But the tech on the top, they don't care. They have the private doctors. They have the private access to everything. So the simple folks will just, you'll survive. That's all right. Let's make more money. And this is not the place for the technicians to be, to put their effort, but to battle with the tech that they're not created. They received these tools. That here's your tools, work it. Like, can you imagine if on a surgery you can see their demand are quick short, right? If the nurse haven't brought the right tools to the surgery, she will get her, she will get so much like a bad feedback for not to be prepared for it. So the surgeons are working right? But at the same time, the tech, they also depend on the tech, and whenever the tech falls off, they've been like, what should we do next? Or who I'm gonna raise my voice on? We can't rely on those techs, and I'm just giving you the example of hospital example, but if we'll look at in the bigger examples, you will see it much deeper. And just looking, remember yourself working with the old Windows versions that like you have like once in a week you had to reinstall it. But more than that, at the same time, I see the gaming industry, they tailor making the games to the experience that you will see it good amount of time inside and feel that you've been rewarded for your time and effort inside this game just because this is the money, this is where they doing the money. If you will be frustrated by the amount of effort you've put into the game and the feedback you received back, for example, it's goodies from the chest or whatever, you will quit and they will lose the money. For them, your experience is the most most important asset. This is why they bring the UI, UX designers. They study, they coordinate, they making changes just for you to look at the screen and be fascinated by it. This is why parents can't imagine, like I don't understand what you see inside those games, but the games today tailored so well that if you, even the parents itself will have a little effort and give a little chance to the game, I'm telling you, the parents will be driven by this game too, because it was tailor made. It was handcrafted for experience to bring you back. So this is one of the interesting talks I had today about the technology, and I think technology is not working for us enough. And if you can come back to the real way, it's much better. And again, it's funny. Today I've been asked again about what my podcast about, and I can swear to it's about nothing. It's about it's about simple stuff that bothers me and that bothers you. Why everything have to be run down to the give me the short answer. Give me the explanation about stuff. How about to discover something that fascinates you? How about to put an effort to be the explorer? Why we have to just imagine yourself if the people back like 500 years ago been asking themselves, what about the America? Why would I sail down from the Europe all like months and months of the sailing to the land of I have no idea what's going on over there. There's no high tech jobs. There's no investment jobs. There's no rent jobs. Why would I go there? But the mindset was much different back then. The people were about, I'm about to make it happen. I'm about to make something happen. So it doesn't matter. I will take my life to the risk to find a new land and see what unravels from there. So this podcast is sort of event horizon, something that will give you a little push maybe to get interested in history, get interested in tech, get interested in the environment around you. I'm not trying to, put to be a preacher. or to be somebody who can make the revolution inside you. The revolution, it's something that we need to feel inside us and strive to it. And it starts within us. I've noticed dramatic change in my personality just by meeting the right person in my life. I haven't expected it, but this person is so important to me just by the fact how I grow day to day by our conversations, interactions, and my ability. This is the one of the things that I take credit on myself, my ability to reflect upon myself through her eyes and see that I can find new sides of me and strive to something much better. This is what I encourage you. Surround yourself with the people who make you feel like that. Surround yourself, but it sounds corny, and everyone like from the personal growth leaders will give you examples like and throw this cliche, but be vigilant, be open-minded. And I mean by maybe the things you do in your life are not the right way. Maybe if you have rules in your side yourself and they lead you to this situation right now that you're not happy about, maybe you need to take out those rules. As soon as you start to break those old paradigms inside your head, you will discover the new source of the inspiration. In the end, I do sound preaching, huh? But we are free to do everything we want with the ideas we receive, and this is my playfield. This is the place I can be 100% honest. There's nobody right now in front of me I'm trying to impress. There's no crowd. There's no million views. I try to stay relevant to them. It doesn't matter. It's much better to be underground like that, because the most important people in my life will hear it and reflect upon it, and this is important part for me. And don't take any pressure from me. Of course, nobody knows really what happening around us. Nobody can give you the map, but as my personal advice, if you find that special person in your life, that you feel that there's source of energy that moves you to make something that important to you, not to them. This is interesting perspective, that sometimes we're doing stuff to impress others, and that's not really meaningful stuff for us. But the right person comes to your life, and you will see how different it is. I have a belief that people around us, it's just a mirror that we can reflect upon ourselves through their eyes and see what's possible to improve in ourselves, or what's possible to. Don't change yourself for the others. Don't do it. It's never pays off. But if you change yourself, not for yourself, but you will change yourself for the sake of your purpose. I think it's the most important, for the sake of your your inner peace. Just for the example, my personality, it's not really stuck well in a IT environment. I'm loud, I'm noisy, I'm flashy, and this is not the way people like people who are deep into high tech. They're looking up at me, and they think themselves, oh man, I gotta be with this person like for 8 hours in the office, and he's too noisy. I can't be concentrated because of him. Well, this is true. This is true that I reflected upon it, and I said to myself, I do need to change for that, but I just need to play along. I don't have to be, riled up all the time. I gotta take the more, more calm path. We're talking about like only in the office, but if I have this environment as my podcast, come on, it's my time to shine. So yeah, environment changes us. Environment gives us those clues uh, how to adapt ourselves, but it doesn't mean we're gonna lose ourselves, right? So this is my takeaway for today. You can change yourself, but don't lose yourself. In the end, it will blow out, and we want it to be not to be too dramatical, right? So stay open-minded, be vigilant to environment around you, and be honest, be cool with yourself. This is the most important. Be cool with yourself. Don't try to win those social points from people who are not going to be important in the next period of your life. And I'm not talking about like use the people around you, but I'm more into, suit yourself. Allow their little victories, and allow them like give them those little bone that they're feel that they're tamed you, or they're now adapt you for their own sake. It's not a problem. In the end, the real will come out. In the end, if you keep yourself keep it real with yourself, it will come out much better. So I'm glad that you enjoyed to me. I'm glad to come back to the podcasting. It's been a while, and I'll see you next time. Bye.